Okay. All right, thanks. Hey Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Innes, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. Don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scrappy-Dooby-Doo, Puppy Power, Lion Shaggy. And you got the Sullivan Project podcast coming at you right now.
Hey Google, stop. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. Hope you all are doing well. Hey Google, turn your volume to 50%. Hey Google, stop. We're not playing anything right now. Hey Google, what time is it? Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:08 p.m.
Maybe I'll do AI taking over. We'll do podcasts on that in the future here. Yeah, these things, they do what they want, these voice, yeah, so I swear it's like they're listening to all the time. And they just speak when they're not spoken to. Sometimes they just say things like, I'll just whisper under my breath, and then one of them will pick me up, and yet it won't pick me up when I'm saying to it directly. It's crazy. But yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in to the Sullivan Project podcast. And I've been blind a couple, 2.5 years now. In case you haven't tuned in before, I was born with an autoimmune disease, and I wasn't expected to make it long. I just turned 45, and I've recently done a couple podcasts on that, reflecting back. So I appreciate y'all if you check that out. We've also had some celebrities on, and this podcast is about, everyone has a story, and you can't judge a book by its cover. And we don't got stuff, so no judgment. Like I like to say, I'm not the judge, just a messenger. So we all can't judge anybody. And we all have our own right to create our own existence. So, but if you want to check out previous episodes, yeah, go on YouTube, Harold Sullivan 78, TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78, Facebook, Harold Sullivan period 35. And yeah, we appreciate, we have guests, audio and video. And we appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, whatever, just anything. Love is a choice, and so is to hate. So that's another Sullyism I've come up with since I've been blind. I've been writing things. I'm actually working on an oracle card deck. I think we pretty much have a design. My sister helps me. When she's not working, she helps me here and there. So I got to get what I can. I could do a little bit more before I lost my sight, but I don't have much movement in my body anyway. So I'm just happy to be here. We all should be, because we live and die in the blink of an eye, or one breath in and out. So it could be gone just like that. So cherish every second. That's why I want to get that across to people. And you might hear something here you might never hear. So it's important to listen, even if it's someone that you might not agree with, but the messages will come through to you. So always keep an open ear to everybody and everything, and then filter out what you don't think will serve your better purpose. So that's just a little bit I like to say. But we're going to talk about Texas Chainsaw today. Chris and I did Jaws. We did some reviews on Jaws, the franchise. So now we're going to talk Texas Chainsaw a little. I want to bring up Dee Wallace. Okay, I had her in the bracket, crappy, or Mr. and Ms. Cult Classics. I did a crappy Cult Classics movies bracket too, but Mr. and Ms. Cult Classics. So I did 3, I think, and I'm going to change it to 4, so it'll be Bruce Campbell, David Arquette will be the 2 male finalists, and Sigourney Weaver and Dee Wallace now. Because Dee Wallace, I forgot she was in the original Hills Have Eyes too. So what hasn't she been in? He was. The Hills Have Eyes, Cujo, E.T., The Howling, Goonies. I mean, I just can't. Supernatural TV shows. She's been in so many movies. And then Hills Have Eyes, yeah. So I'm gonna leave that bracket at those four. And then I wanted to mention we just did a Nightmare on Elm Street. We talked about that too, Chris and I. The horror icons, I like to call us. We have over 100 years of horror movie knowledge between the two of us, and we go back to elementary basically. So, but yeah, we did an Elm Street thing. So I want to mention Bob Shea. So Bob Shea, he owns New Line Cinema. They're the ones that gave Wes Craven a chance to make a Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven was the writer-director, also known for The Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left. Oh, I got a text today. Deposit day. Yippee Skippy Peanut Butter, right? Does anybody say that anymore? But so Bob Shea, yeah, when nobody else would buy that movie and said it wasn't scary, a Nightmare on Elm Street, because he said people wouldn't believe it because it was in your dreams. He basically mortgaged everything to get the rights and to make that movie. And New Line Cinema used to do like weddings and bar mitzvahs. So they nicknamed that company the house that Freddie built ever since then. And they're still going. I mean, the latest things they've done was like It, the Final Destination movies. They did the Friday. I think they did Rush Hour. I'm not sure. The Friday movies. But they do all kinds of different styles of movies. So Bob Shea. And he had a couple cameos. He actually wanted to be an actor originally, I guess. So, or a director, but instead he ended up producing movies. But so he was in A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 2. He was in Part 5. Let's see if I can remember who plays. He was in Freddy vs. Jason. He was the principal that comes out in the hallway. In Part 2, he was like a bartender, working like in a leather bar in Freddy's Revenge. And he was a guy at the ticket booth wearing Freddy's glove, and I think it was Part 5 or 6. So he's had a few cameos. Oh, and then Wes Craven's New Nightmare, he played himself. So, and then speaking of Robert Englund, or Freddy, Robert Englund actually, for those of you that don't know, here's a little neat thing. Robert Englund pretty much stuck to the script with all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, except for one time, and it was in Part 3, where he ad-libbed, and the line was supposed to be, "This is it, Jennifer, your big break in TV. This is it, Jennifer, your big break in TV." And then Robert Englund just threw in, "Welcome to prime time, bitch," you know? So there you go. And that was just, so the whole line is in the movie still, but it was supposed to end with, "This is your big break in TV." And then Freddy comes out of the TV with his arm in hand, he puts the girl in the TV, which is it's so unrealistic, because when they come in and find her, she's dangling like 4 feet off the ground. There's nothing there that she could have stood up on, and she's just hanging out of a TV that's up in the corner. So, but that was Dream Warriors there. So I want to mention that to y'all. Interesting facts about Elm Street. Also, some stuff about music I just found out. So the notes, 7 notes, are linked to the chakras. So 1 through 7, the top through the bottom, the head through the feet. If you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like A, B, C, D, E, F. Yeah, and each one you play will correspond and give you a certain feeling with that chakra. And it's neat, because when you think about music and stuff and rhythm and all that, that's what it is. And it touches something in us that we don't realize, but it's each beat, each note. So think about that. It's music. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember about Dee Wallace?
I remember you told me. Bob Shea Bad Dreams, Dee Wallace Pleasantville Stargate, the Apocrypha Complete.
Hey Google, stop. Okay, the original Nightmare on Elm Street title was going to be Bad Dreams. And then years later, they actually came out with a movie called Bad Dreams, which is pretty scary. Even scarier than Nightmare on Elm Street. It might have been the same year, I think, 84, 85. And then thing about this Scary Movie, the original title to Scream was Scary Movie, and then Scary Movie came out around that same time with the title Scary Movie, and they're both Wes Craven. So, uh, and then I mentioned the coolest looking movies. I did a podcast on that recently, and of course they were from before I lost my sight. But Pleasantville, I didn't mention that one's another cool one, because some of it's black and white and some is color, and that's Tobey Maguire, Reese Witherspoon even before Spider-Man and all that, and I think Legally Blonde. And then what else here? Pleasantville. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember about Pleasantville? This is how I take
I
notes.
remember you told me. Bob Shea, Bad Dreams, D. Wallace, Pleasantville, Stargate. The
Okay.
Apocryphal
Hey
Country
Google,
Moon
stop. And then they got Stargate. This is how I take notes and stuff. But yeah, Stargate, which is really cool in effects and just the way that the planet was. And then they did a TV show, which was cool as well for years. They did different Stargate TV shows. So I recommend both those movies too, Pleasantville and Stargate. And then I just finished an audio book, like 40-something hours, the Apocrypha complete volume. And it has some of the missing Bible books. So I've been putting together that list for people, and I want to put that in my book that I'm trying to write. My sister is helping me right here, a little bit here and there. God bless, like I said. And so, if you want to know any of the books that are missing from the Bible, check out previous podcasts. And I'm putting in the list. It'll be in my book so people can find, because there's so many books that they just thought, we didn't need to know. They took out of the Bible. So, I think your soul's your most important thing. So you should know what you want to know. If you want to know it all, then you should know it all. Like as far as the Bible, the missing pieces or whatever, then you can do what you want with that what you got. But if you don't have all the stuff to make something out of or make a decision out of, then how can you make it? So I'm always one for having like as much detail, info, whatever, and then I can go from there what I want to do. So making decisions on stuff that you don't know anything about just kind of doesn't make sense. But there's a little bit of that. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:19 p.m.
So let's talk about Texas Chainsaw. I think there's 9 now, maybe. Chris and I were talking about the other day, and I was like, gee, we couldn't even remember some of them. I was like, I remember them, but they're just so bad. But there's like 9, I believe, now. So the first 4 were pretty decent, and then you had 2 that were a remake and a prequel. And then you've actually had like 3 since then. So let's see, the first one, and number 1 and 2 were Tobe Hooper. He also did Poltergeist. And Texas Chainsaw, Psycho, Silence of the Lambs were all based off of Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainfield. He was a real life killer. He used to wear skin and all that, and dig up bodies and make furniture. He really did all that. Nobody had any clue what's going on until someone came up missing, and they went and checked and found all that on his farm. So Texas Chainsaw, I actually met Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface at a convention. I met the hitchhiker, Edward Neal, and the grandfather, who actually played the grandfather in the original, and then 30-something years later played the grandfather in the remake. But he was young and he wore makeup, so it didn't matter. So that's a neat thing. And I met Choctaw Bill Mosley, who was the brother in part 2. So part 1 and 2 were like a continuing story, and then after that they just, the first one was just classic, almost like a handheld shot, just gruesome, not much gore or nothing, but just, well, I wouldn't say gore, but not really blood. Just kind of messed with you in your mind a little. So, but then you have 2, and then you have 3, which Leatherface kind of dies in part 2, spoilers, but then somehow he's back in part 3. I don't understand that. I think he has a leg brace or something. Yeah, like he gets killed in part 2, but he comes back with just a hurt leg in part 3. And he doesn't kill anybody with a chainsaw in that one. That's the only one I believe he doesn't kill anybody with a chainsaw. And it has a very cool trailer though. It's like, for some reason it has a lake, and then the chainsaw flies out of the lake and Leatherface jumps up and grabs it. And I always thought that would have been cool for like a Jason Leatherface. But that's what was happening when that trailer came out, but it wasn't. So I don't know how they would do that, anyways. But and then part 4 actually has Matthew McConaughey in it and Renee Zellweger. And Renee Zellweger is like a prom girl. Matthew McConaughey is twisted and sick. He's like one of the relatives. And there's another Leatherface there. Gunnar Hansen already played him, I believe, in the first one. So, and it's just messed up. And then there's a little girl. I think the little girl's in part 3. I don't know. It's called The Next Generation, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 4. And then you have the remake, that's just Part 5. And then you have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. And I like both of those. And then you have when it came out after that, like 2013 or something, 2014. This was terrible. It was supposed to be a direct sequel to the first one. They were going to ignore the other ones, just like they did with Halloween and some other franchises. And it just was garbage. Like the girl, the main character was 10 years younger or older than she should. Like it just didn't make sense. The timeline didn't make. And then they even said that they were hoping people would miss that. Like you can't miss it. The girl should be 30-something and she's playing a 20-something-year-old because of the times. And she's born in the 70s, and then the movie's 40 years later, or 30-something years, 40 years later, and she's playing in college. So that doesn't. So, and then they did one after that. Oh my gosh, with a silent, like a girl and some other people escape, and they're in a van traveling across it. They don't make sense at all. I think it was called just Leatherface. Like just like part 3 was called Leatherface, and then they had one just a couple of years ago about a town that was kind of going nuts, and these new youngsters come in and try to find out what's up. It was just crap. So after the first 3 or 4, like I said, then you got the 2 remakes, Arnie Army, Arnie Army, the military guy. He's in a lot of movies. He passed away a few years ago. God rest his soul. But he was cool with it as a sheriff, and he shot that dude. He's like, now I'm the whole damn police department, So it was just neat. He didn't care. And then they brought out Leatherface. But see, I don't like how they made Leatherface a giant, just like they made Michael Myers and Rob Zombies. They made him 7 feet tall. In Halloween 2, Michael Myers was only 5'2", that guy that played him. So think about that. That's why they shot up and down with the angles, so you couldn't tell. They never shot people in certain ways in part 2, so that he wouldn't look tall. Like everything was down and up. So I'm very astute to all that. I used to do fan films and paranormal investigations and writing. I'm working on some songs. Just talked to Danny actually, and he's got the 2 babies, my god babies. God bless them. And they're doing well. He said the one baby, Gabriella, just a little over a year old, brushing her teeth on her own. I said, oh, and she's learning sign language. Like she goes to daycare or something, somewhere where she goes and they're actually teaching, which is great because then people can speak to anybody, young or old, whatever, any disability. So I love that. And most people can't do one language, let alone a baby who's learning sign language and how to speak. And he's like, she says pancakes. He tells me she has pancakes. He feeds her pancakes. She says pancakes. I just can hear her joy in his life. I love it. That's life. I haven't had kids, so when he asked me to be the godfather to his first child, and then he just had another child a few months ago. So he's got 2 under 2 years old. 2 a little over a year old, 2 and a little over a year, like a year and a half. So he's got a lot, but hey, we don't get more than we can handle, right? So, and we're all here to do something, and until it's done, we're here. So that's what I can say. And if you're not afraid to die, you can live. When you're not afraid to die, you can live. And your pain is your strength, not your weakness. So those are going to be on the cards. I got to get them printed out. Danny said I could use some of the babies' pictures, so I'm going to do an oracle card deck, and some of them will have my god babies' pictures, and I think that would be cool. So it's a neat little project, and any songs that I'm writing, and a little poetry. So God's keeping me busy. But I appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll be back shortly. Maybe I'll show y'all how I play piano. I got a little tiny mini keyboard, and I can do that blind disabled with one finger, on each hand, or one finger here, or whatever. I'll mash my knuckles. But where there's a will, there's a way. So, and I wasn't just put here to be tortured. I took my life. I took things wrong a lot in my life until I lost my sight, and then everything came to me, and it's still coming to me. I still get my moments, and you have to take that moment and just chill, let it happen, and then just pick your head up and just be like, okay, it's another day, or it's another hour, or whatever. I don't have a concept of time. I haven't seen the clock in years, so I can't tell you. I fall asleep at the beat, but I don't know what time it is. Sometimes hours go by and I don't realize. Sometimes it's only a minute. So, but I love y'all, and we'll be back soon. Being a right, love's a choice, and so is the hate. Oh, y'all can call in the show 724-513-1472 and email us hs19782015 at outlook.com. Like I said, love y'all.